it was a different time.
Yeah.
And my mother was very traditional. So yeah, I wound up doing what I did, but I don't know. It's kind of in a way, a little miracle that it happened. Yeah, I could have done something, very different.
You've just heard Mary Kite from Ball State University. Eric had the opportunity to chat with Mary for this 234th episode of Psych Sessions, conversations about teaching and stuff.
Hi, my name is Brooke Wisenhunt, and I'm from Missouri State University. And one of the things that excites me about STP is that I feel like that is where I found my professional home. After spending a lot of years going to other professional academic conferences, I landed at a conference full of people from STP and really felt like this was the place that were my people. And I think that that's something that you can miss out on if you don't join this organization. So go to teachpsych.org and please join and become one of these people that is a member of our community.
Psych Sessions is proud to partner with Macmillan Learning. At Macmillan Learning Psychology, content matters, and these days, digital content matters more than ever. Macmillan Learning's Achieve elevates interactive teaching and learning with an extraordinary range of online course content in a powerful yet easy-to-use platform. Interactive ebooks, innovative assessments, engaging videos and activities, helpful instructor resources. Achieve brings it all together and makes it easy for you to find what you need and what you want. See for yourself. Go to macmillanlearning.com/psych sessions for an introductory tour today. Macmillan's Achieve for Psychology, engaging every student, supporting every instructor, setting the new standard for teaching and learning. Hey everyone, it's Garth. Psych Sessions has been around for nearly a decade, offering free professional development to listeners all over the world. And we couldn't do it without your listening support, but we also need other kinds of support from our listeners. If you could go to Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen and subscribe and like the podcast, maybe even leave a review for us, it's incredibly helpful to getting out to more teachers of psychology. And did you know that Psych Sessions is a 501c3 nonprofit organization? We can do what we do because of gifts from people like you. So please head to psychsessions.org if you would like to donate today. The best way you can help us is to become a monthly donor at any level. Is Psych Sessions worth $5 a month to you? $10 a month to you? More? Please go to psychsessions.org and give whatever you think this is worth. Your gifts keep Psych Sessions free for everyone. Our goal is to have a huge impact, and you are a part of it. Thanks.
Welcome to another episode of Psych Sessions, conversations about teaching and stuff. I am so pleased to be here today with, I'm going to call her a dear friend. I don't know if she feels the same way. I don't know, but I'm here with Dr.
Of course
Mary.
I do.
Okay, well, thank you. Dr. Mary Kite from Ball State University. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Eric.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and be a guest. Let's just start with, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing just really well. And thank you, by the way, for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Can you update our listeners on where you are in your career? Because have you formally retired?
I did. I formally retired June 30th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Well,
yes.
I'm staring down the same barrel, so to speak, in my near future. Can you talk a little bit about how you made that decision and how you picked the timing of that decision?
Well, kind of one factor, which hopefully doesn't happen to most people, is I had two brothers die in 2 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then you realize how short time is.
Yeah.
And I really wanted time for my own self. So that was one of the reasons. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, of course, everyone is super aware that higher ed is not the same that it used to be.
Right.
One of my friends told me it's like arriving at the party after the police have raided it.
Okay. So I if that's not part of the title of this episode, it's definitely going to be in the show notes.
Oh my gosh.
That is lovely. So let me circle back to the first one and
Okay.
to be more serious. So were you close with your brothers?
Yes, I was. And it's very startling, at least for my two brothers. They both started failing about a year out. And then they just, one day after another, got worse and worse. And you just realized, or I realized, I wished I had had more time, more free time that I could have spent with them, especially before they were sick.
Yeah.
And I think that's also related to something that, of course, we all know. We don't know how many days we have.
Right.
And to think about what you want to do with those days. And I didn't want to be one of the people who waited too long and then did not get time to kind of reinvent myself. So the great thing about academia, though, is you can keep your skin in the game, if you will, a little bit. So I still have my books to write. You can certainly volunteer to teach for people if you want to, which I'm thinking about doing.
Oh.
You can go to conferences. You can be involved with, the friends that you made over the years. You can visit them. And so it's not like other jobs where you basically clean off your desk and walk out the door. So I still have 3 doctoral students that are finishing up. And, you have a lot of choices. I could teach a class if I want to. Of course, all those things make it possible to kind of navigate a little bit of walking back slowly. And I kind of practiced for a semester of drawing back from what I'm involved in to see how it was. And, if I was going to really regret it. But the other thing is, I am in Indiana, and it's one of the states that is being the most watchful about what we do.
Okay.
And even as a senior person, I just found that very difficult because I teach diversity. Most of my classes are related to diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't talk about the issues related to diversity without feeling like you are being, I don't know what the exact word is, but that's a big change. Also, our state passed a law in the budget at the very last minute that any program smaller than 7 people had to close.
Wow. Okay.
So at Ball State, I think it's 40 or 50 programs that have to close. Women's and gender studies, philosophy, PhD in English, I think. I don't remember exactly what they all are. But my little program, the Master's in Social Psychology, does not graduate 7 people every year.
Well, it has to graduate 7 people.
Yeah, you have to graduate 7 people every year. So then all of a sudden we have to reshape. So there are lots of places where those changes are showing up, and I just decided I don't want to do it.
So Mary, there's a lot to unpack there, and there's a lot of ooey goodness. I'm going to use the cookie analogy. I want to. So, I had so many in my head. I really had 2 or 3. I had placeholders in my head.
Okay.
So, first one is, our culture needs a new name another version of retirement, because you're doing what I guess I would call the Drew Appleby version of retirement,
right?
which is stepped away from your university, but not even completely that, but you're still actively engaged and involved as a scholar. And so I mean, I'm not the arbiter of definitions, but to me, that doesn't strike me as like you mentioned, it's not the retirement where you walk out of the office building with a box of your stuff from your desk and you never return. I mean, in some ways, you haven't completely left. Is that fair to say?
Right. And it's hard to imagine completely leaving.
Right.
It is.
I think about this a lot for myself. And I know it's supposed to be about you, but now it's talking about me. I feel like my entire adult identity is wrapped up in being a college professor.
It is, probably.
And I am not sure how I'm going to handle not being a college professor.
I went to commencement because one of my doctoral students got her PhD. And I looked around and I thought, what have I done?
Well, you mean the plan to step away? What have I done?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Because you look around and you think, this is everyone I know.
Right.
Not everybody I know, but you look around the room and there's so many people you know. Of course, I've been at Ball State for 38 years. So there's a lot of relationships. There's a lot of students. Of course, commencement, everybody is so happy. And it is, I think, a big challenge. I'm in a retirement group for social psychologists that Paula Petromonaco put together. And that has been really helpful in terms of the identity piece, to kind of listen to what other people are doing and how they're managing. Because one of the participants last time we met said, I used to be a very important person and now I'm not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean,
right.
I mean, this is revealing more than I may be comfortable with.
Yeah.
I'm used to being Dr. Landrum.
Of course. Yeah.
And there's going to be a time here that I sort of select where I won't be that anymore.
So what it came down to for me is that it's inevitable that you have to cross that bridge. And I decided I wanted to cross the bridge earlier than later. Because there are things I really want to do that if something happens to your health, you won't be able to do.
And that is such a fair and cogent concern. I had some health issues during the pandemic, actually, and I wouldn't call it a scare, but I would call it a wake up call. And so it did make me think about, what my timeline is going to be. And then the other piece of it is that I'm spending too much time on TikTok. And on my TikTok feed, I'm getting a fair amount of retirement videos from, from financial planners. And they're all saying, don't wait. They're kind of advising what you're modeling, which is, retire early enough that you can enjoy your life. Enjoying a smaller amount of money is probably better than working till 70 and then getting the full amount of Social Security, for example.
And you probably have more money than you think.
Yes. Yeah.
It is very weird not to get a paycheck. But I keep looking at this and going, well, I have this pile of money that I've been saving all these years. And it's probably not going to run out. But also, I'm thinking, okay, I should just spend this money. One of the things financial planners ask you, of course, is what do you want to leave to your kids? And I'm like, nothing.
Spend it while you can enjoy it.
And I feel like I sent him on his way, right? I paid for undergraduate. I helped him in graduate school. He is perfectly capable of building his own life, and I am not going to pinch pennies so that he gets money. That's very selfish, but also true.
Not Mary, not selfish at all.
Yeah.
I for years, decades actually. You mentioned Ball State in 38 years.
Yeah.
I'm at Boise State for starting my 34th year.
Yeah.
And I've been getting these quarterly statements in the mail for decades, and they've always been monopoly money to me.
Right.
I mean,
they are monopoly money.
You're right. Like with the stock market, it went up, it went down. It's looking pretty good. Oh, I just took a big hit.
Right.
And now, what's interesting as my time approaches, it's not monopoly money anymore.
Right. It's not.
It's oh, well, that number looks pretty big, but then how many months will that, what you've already said, how many months will that last? How many years will that last? Yeah.
But it is monopoly money for a long time, a big chunk of it. So one person recommended to me, and I think this is a reasonable way, depending on how you think about money, to take all the money you need for a year out at once. So you've like, okay, this year I'm covered. And so if the stock market bounces up and down, I don't have to freak out.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, I think there are those things, you know, they keep running these tables that, you know, say I have a 99% chance of not running out of money. Unfortunately, I can't buy a house in San Francisco, but I was never going to be able to do that anyway.
Right. Indiana hopefully is more affordable.
Is 100 times more, probably 1,000 times more affordable. We're one of the most affordable places in the whole country.
Let's circle back to Indiana and legislature, because I think a lot of people are in the same boat as your higher ed institutions are. And Boise State is too. I mean, I was just in a faculty senate meeting on Tuesday where we get the list of all the things that we're not supposed to do in our classroom.
Right.
And now we have a syllabus statement that cites Idaho law about.
Oh gosh, we don't have that yet, but we probably will.
Yeah, it's probably on its way. What was that like for you while you were still in the classroom? I mean, were you feeling that, or has it kind of bubbled up now that you've retired?
MHS, a sponsor of Psych Sessions, is providing a free ADHD webinar. From one person to another, ADHD can look pretty different between youth and adults over the course of a lifespan. And our understanding of ADHD and the ways that we support people are evolving too. So join MHS for Unmasking ADHD, Practical Strategies to Empower Youth and Adults. This is a free webinar series upcoming for psychology students and faculty and school and clinical psychologists who want to better recognize ADHD. These sessions will explore executive function, the impact of ADHD across the lifespan, the overlap with autism, and the role of performance validity testing. You can hear from leading experts, including Dr. Jack Naglieri, Dr. Elizabeth Sparrow, Dr. Sam Goldstein, and Dr. Cecil Reynolds, as they share practical tools, real cases, and the latest research to support your studies or practice. So whether you're in the classroom or working in a clinic or just beginning a career, this series will equip you with strategies to make a meaningful difference. You can reserve your spot at mhs.com/ADHD-webinar-series-2025. That is mhs.com/ADHD-webinar-series-2025. And you can join a community committed to improving lives through a better understanding of ADHD.
I definitely felt it. I also knew I was on my way out. So, but the other thing I think is that the vast majority of faculty actually are very careful in the classroom.
Yes, I agree.
And are not doing the things that the legislature thinks we're doing. So if you base, your course on the research and scholarship in psychology, then you're giving students information. And I was always extremely careful to not talk about politics and to not make anybody feel unwelcome depending on, say, their political party. And I think the vast majority of faculty are. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to feel like you've been mischaracterized. And it's also very scary to think you would be called into a meeting where a student has complained, because one of the parts of the law is that if students complain, you have to have at least an informal hearing. But chances are, again, you're not going to have done anything that is really egregious. One would hope that that's true for everybody. So that part, it does feel, it's hard not to feel like you got punched in the gut, right? Because what's important to me is really being called into question as being valuable. The things that I teach. But at the same time, I always felt like I could be fair to everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure the origin of the fear or the concern, but like you, I don't think I've ever known anyone in my career who was bent on indoctrination.
Right.
I need you to believe critical race theory, or I need you to not believe critical race theory, or insert topic here. I think you're exactly right. If we stick to the psychological science and we present the data that we have that's current, and we can talk about the flaws of studies and research methods and all those things, I would like to think we're on solid ground, but just because I would like to think it doesn't make it so.
That's true. And it's drilling down into places you wouldn't necessarily think. Like, we have the Broadway shows that come through that a lot of institutions have. Mm-hmm. Those are being monitored, and they can't be anything that is DEI related.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. To my knowledge, we're not doing that in Idaho, but it could be that it's happening and I'm just not aware of it.
I only know because I know the person who's in charge of the auditorium, basically, because it's probably not a public statement. But like, the community theater just did Hairspray, which is all about, if you've seen
I've seen the movie.
Yeah. I don't think the university could do that now, to have that show come through.
Interesting. Well, then, if we're not bordering on censorship, it's out and out censorship. Then.
Yeah, and I think because I'm sure Boise State's in the same boat we are. We're not a major institution in terms of grant funding, which is a whole other thing that I don't know that much about, but I know that's a whole other pot of fear. But we absolutely have to have students, and we absolutely have to have the legislature support. So I think people are right now overcorrecting because we just really do not want to rock the boat, because we can't afford to. And I really feel that this year is going to be very bumpy and scary, and then we're going to figure it out, and it's going to be better. A few years down the line, we're going to have, for one thing, I think it will all calm down from the legislator side. Mm-hmm. And for another thing, I think we'll figure out that we already did a pretty good job with these issues, and that we're going to learn how to navigate them further and, be able to do well with our students, which is our goal, right, is to teach the students well as best we can.
So, Mary, what I'm hearing there is that you've still got a little bit of optimism.
Well, yes, I do have optimism.
But you're the one.
I'm the one. The other reason, to kind of switch topics slightly, but back to optimism, AI is another reason why I think it was time for me to retire.
Interesting.
Yes.
Say more about that.
I feel like we have to rethink how we teach. Like, I am not anti-AI. I'm not pro-AI. I just think AI is at our doorstep, and we need to reevaluate how we're teaching so that we can use AI in a productive way and still help our students learn. And that was just more of a mountain to climb than I have the energy for, to be honest, because I think my courses are the way they are, and to have to go take on that task was really more than I really wanted to do at this stage of my career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I was in a committee meeting the other day, and this group has scholarship money to give to students, and they were trying to figure out what's going to be the mechanism by which we allocate money to students who apply. And someone recommended that students write a short essay as part of their application for, $3,000, $5,000, whatever it was going to be. And one of the biggest concerns about that is that students wouldn't be writing essays. AI would be writing the essays.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to use an essay, a paragraph as a differentiator, then you get into the who's got access to AI, who's got the good AI, who doesn't have access to AI. And now it becomes we're not evaluating someone's work, we're evaluating someone's ability to use AI. And I think you're exactly right. Higher ed, and of course, psychology educators in particular, we're going to have to figure this all out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing a trend. So here's the trend I'm hearing from you. I want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Okay.
You said just a few minutes ago, I knew I was on the way out. So, and for me, the phrase I use here at Boise State, you all know I've got one foot out the door, right? I mean, that's
right.
that's my version of it. So how does that, so were you able to stay optimistic even though or knowing that you were on the way out made you more optimistic? I don't know if you're understanding. I'm not being very clear about. Because I have the tendency to go negative. I have the tendency to, I'm out of here in 2 years. I don't give an F, right? And that's not a good attitude for any faculty member to have. And I don't like having that attitude, but I do sometimes say it to myself.
I think for me, it's about choice. So if I were to stay, I would do my best to do a great job addressing these issues, because that's just who I am. I'm not going to phone it in.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to just say, well, if students are going to use AI, they're going to use AI, and I don't care. I'm going to teach the same way I always taught. But having a choice makes it possible to say, well, I'm just choosing not to do that, which isn't necessarily negative. It's just sort of a gift in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel really, I feel bad for the younger new faculty who are trying to learn how to navigate a university and having all this stuff thrust upon them. And they're not even settled yet, right? They're just getting here. But I also feel like they're more able in some ways to deal with the current students. Like TikTok, I don't use TikTok. And that's the other thing I felt.
That's a good thing. Don't get hooked on it like I am.
Well, I really felt like I was aging out, right? That I was in a different place than the students. And it was time for me to let someone else who wasn't so unaware of social media. I kind of know what's going on in TikTok, but just barely. Let someone else who is more aligned with where the students are teach them.
Well, and I know it's an old cliche, and I was talking about this with someone the other day. Students feel different now.
They do.
And I think part of it's post-pandemic. Students are different now. And I don't want to do the ageism. I don't want to do the generational, those Gen Xers, they're all this or that, because that doesn't make any sense, really. And it's usually not accurate. But I'm teaching a class that's completely remote, and I'm teaching a class online, and I'm sorry, face-to-face. And it's just students feel different. I think they've got a lot of things going on. I think their lives are more complicated. I think college students' lives are more complicated than when I was a college student. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, just too many things going on, too many distractions, too many. I shouldn't say too many. Lots of responsibilities, lots of distractions. It feels like sometimes school isn't the number one priority, which of course I want as an educator, but may not fit their life and reality.
Right.
So it's just, like I say, I'm 2 years out, but the allure to walk away is there.
Yeah.
It's really there. Mary,
old are you?
go ahead.
How old are you?
I'm 62.
Okay. So you have a little while.
I think I will retire summer of 27. That's my plan.
Okay. Yeah.
I will have been in higher ed 38 years, the last 35 at Boise State. So
yeah. I'm 66. So
okay, all right. So you lasted longer than I did. That's for sure. So Mary, you've mentioned your two brothers. Was for your siblings? Were there just three of you altogether?
No, there were 8 of us.
Eight siblings. 8.
Well, 7. Yeah, 7 siblings.
7 altogether.
8 altogether. 7. I have 7 siblings.
Okay, so 8 altogether.
8 altogether.
Where, if you don't mind, where did you grow up?
We all grew up over on the west side of Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the west side of Indiana, near the Illinois border.
Right, Terre Haute.
Oh, Terre Haute. Okay. Yeah. I'm an Illinois guy. I grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up north of Chicago, halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee. So.
Oh, wow. Nice.
The Midwest are my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
So, and Mary, where are you in the birth order of the 8?
I'm the youngest.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And how many boys, how many girls altogether?
5 boys, 3 girls.
Okay, and you are the youngest girl.
I'm the youngest.
And a girl. Yeah. All right. Well, was the conversation in your home when you were growing up, will you go to college, or was the conversation, what college will you go to?
The conversation with me was my mother thought I'd be a great secretary.
Okay. So no college at all, essentially.
No college at all.
And so if you don't mind, let's go back to high school.
Yeah.
Before that decision point, were you a band person, an athlete?
No, I was in the band.
Choir, a cheerleader. Yeah. What?
No, I was in the band. My major organization was 4-H.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, that was the best preparation I could have gotten for college, for public speaking, for leadership, for social relationships. That it's not as common for people to be in 4-H anymore. And people think of 4-H as being cows and pigs, but I wasn't a farm girl. But 4-H was really important in my development. And I'll tell you a funny story. Our high school had tracks. So my mother was insistent that I be on the business track. So I show her this catalog. Remember, you got printed catalogs all the things, the minimum requirements. I'm like, I will not have any of these. I won't be able to go to college if you make me do the business track. So she finally agreed to let me switch to the college track so I could have algebra and geometry and all those things. But my mother was very traditional, and it honestly, I think, just never occurred to her that I would go to college. Certainly never occurred to her I would go to graduate school. My stepfather, when I graduated from undergraduate and was headed to a doctoral program, he was like, I just don't understand why you need more school. Why didn't you take business math? And then you could have gotten a job.
Yet he was going to grad school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't think his stepdaughter should be going that route.
No. So it was a different time.
Yeah.
And my mother was very traditional. So, yeah, I wound up doing what I did, but I don't know. It's kind of in a way, a little miracle that it happened. Yeah, I could have done something, very different.
Yeah. Were you a 4-H officer? Like maybe your senior
Oh
year?
yeah, all that
Okay.
stuff. Yeah,
And did you go to the national convention?
I did once. Yeah, you had
Yeah.
to be selected to go to the national convention, and I got to go one year as um, it's terrible when you can't think of words. They had some spots that weren't connected to anything. They just
Sure.
chose certain
Some sort of
people. So I
delegate or
got
something.
a freestanding delegate. So I got to go.
Okay.
It was in Chicago. It was really, really great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. What? So you talk mom and stepdad into going to college, and where do you go for undergraduate?
I went to Purdue.
Purdue.
I did.
One of the current rivals of Ball State. Is that fair to say?
No,
No.
because they're Indiana and Purdue, but we're not even on their radar, right? We're just a little tiny. We're a MAC school. Our big rival is Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
But ballpark, how many undergraduate students at Ball State?
16,000.
Okay, but that's a fair size.
It is a fair
That's
size,
not
but
small.
Purdue is like 60,000.
Oh, is it?
It's
Okay.
very
Gotcha.
different. Very different.
And when you get to when you get to Purdue as an undergraduate, are you majoring in psychology right away?
No, I was going to be a Spanish teacher. Yeah.
Okay. Time out. Where does that come from?
I took Spanish 4 years in high school and I really liked it. And, it just seemed being a teacher, again, at that time, women did not have a whole lot of paths, it didn't seem. So teaching high school seemed like the most reasonable thing. I knew I wasn't destined to teach elementary school. And then I took my first psychology class and absolutely loved it. But I still had a double major then for a while. But then we got to the only Spanish classes I had left were literature classes. And one of them was Spanish literature, and we were reading El Cid in Middle Spanish. I'm like, okay, not for me. And then I took social psychology and absolutely fell in love with it. So I switched to just psychology.
Did Purdue have a strong psychology department at that time?
Yeah, they did. I had really great mentors, and I had really great instructors. So at that time, I don't think this is as true anymore, but at that time, faculty taught all the classes.
Right.
Today, we didn't have graduate students. Not that they wouldn't have been good, but you got a chance to work in people's labs, those kinds of things. I worked in 3 labs when I was an undergraduate.
Were they all social psychology labs? And I, of course, I got to ask you, were you a member of Psi Chi as an undergraduate?
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Okay. And so did you end up going to MPA as an undergrad?
I didn't go to graduate school.
Okay. Because that would have been the closest conference, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And plus, you'd already been to Chicago for 4-H, so
that's right. Yeah,
the big city. And so, I'm guessing, obviously, but maybe not obviously, you were encouraged as an undergraduate to go on to graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And then where did you go for graduate school?
Well, I went to the University of Texas at Austin.
Oh, big change.
It was a big change, and it was not going to be a place that I would succeed. Okay. So I decided that I would go back to Purdue because I had really, again, good mentors. Mm-hmm. And I knew I would fit in and do well there, which turns out, obviously to be true. At the University of Texas, it was not as structured as I needed it. And I probably wasn't prepared, actually. But that was not going to be a place I felt like I could finish. Or at least I wasn't going to finish and feel successful. Just related to that, there were 5 of us in my class. Only one person stayed. So it wasn't just me.
Right.
It was, of course, a long time ago now. So I went back to Purdue, and I worked with Kado.
Oh, okay. A
Yeah.
name I recognize.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also worked with Alice Egley.
Oh,
So they
wow.
were, yeah, I was super lucky. And honestly, at the time, I had no idea how lucky I was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And those were social psychology programs, graduate programs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then if you've been at Ball State for 38 years, I'm thinking maybe Ball State was your first job after graduate
Yep.
school?
Yeah. I'd just been there the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during your tenure at Ball State, um, obviously you went through the ranks, but did you serve as department chair or an associate dean or any of those types of leadership positions?
Was associate dean of the graduate school. Then I was acting dean of the graduate school. But then as one of my friends put it, I got promoted back to the faculty. I was never department chair. I was in line to be department chair. And I asked one of my colleagues, tell me what you like about it. And he said, well, I got to hire people who were really good for our department. I was like, and I just decided that I already did my administrative thing and I was going to just stay on the faculty. So that's what I did.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Retreat rights. And so after your stint, your leadership stint in the graduate college, and you were able to retreat back. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody I talked to about that, including myself, I have served as chair a couple of times. Going back to regular faculty status is just a treat.
Yeah.
It's just a treat to be able to go back.
Yeah.
Mary, I'm cognizant of time. I'm keeping an eye on that. As we were getting ready to talk today, and I have a couple questions I want to end with.
Okay.
As we were getting ready for today, was there anything that came to mind that you said, oh, I want to talk about this, or I have a story about that, or maybe if you want to talk a little bit more about your books, or maybe your involvement in STP, or whatever you'd like.
Well, STP, as you no doubt know, was my family.
Right.
I felt so fortunate to get involved in STP. It was a super important part of my career. Just such lovely people, and that's really my home colleagues, and I'll be forever grateful for all the folks, including you, that I've become close to over the years. I think it's been really amazing to see the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning develop and become, its own respected area in its own right. It wasn't so much when I first became a faculty member. So that was really important. I thought the nice part about Ball State was you had a lot of choices to develop your career however you wanted. So you could be successful going in and out of different. So sometimes I would focus more just on teaching, and sometimes I would focus more on scholarship. I was really lucky for my books. One of my colleagues at Ball State, just Bernie Whitley, and he kind of took me under his wing, and we wrote the Prejudice book together. And that was really a great opportunity. I learned so much from him. I used to show my students him commenting on my writing. I said,
right. The paper, the red ink.
Yeah. And then he invited me to revise his graduate research methods books. So those are the two books that I have. And we just finished the 5th edition of research methods. And now we're starting the 5th edition of the Prejudice book. So that's been nice. And, you have your book, at least one book. I don't know if you have another one or not.
I have a handful of ones that have not been as successful as yours. But thinking about the edits,
Mhm.
I submitted a couple of manuscripts to Teaching of Psychology while Charles Brewer
Oh my
was
gosh,
editor.
yes. I
And
still have
I
mine.
wish to goodness that I would have saved those red marked up manuscripts from the olden days when we used to mail them back and forth.
I still have mine.
You have a Charles Brewer manuscript?
Yes, with all the red. Yes.
I think I published one thing while he was editor of TOP before Randy Smith came in after him. But I got more than one thing rejected, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I was never a fan of, what was it? I'm trying to remember the opening line. I'm sorry to inform you.
Yeah.
When the letter started like that, I didn't really need to keep reading.
Right.
Yeah. The edits, he was remarkable.
Yeah.
So Mary, I want to, your answers might be related, but I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One is, if you had to do it all over again, what might you do differently? And the second one is, what advice would you give to newer teachers of psychology, teachers in higher ed? And your answers might be related, or you can say, I don't want to answer those at all. You can do whatever you want.
I don't know what I would do differently if I had it to do over. What advice would I give? Related to diversity, I hope that people can follow their passion and find a way to do that. I have a lot of graduate students asking, should I not do research on diversity-related issues?
Wow.
Especially my research is mainly on anti-gay prejudice, and people are worried about doing that. And I just say, so far, none of these rules or laws have affected what you can publish and where. And publications in the promotion and tenure process, for example, aren't being judged by content. And so I hope that people will continue to do what they're passionate about and not give it up because of this fear. Same with teaching diversity. I think we owe it to our students to find a way to do this. It's one of the pillars in the guidelines for undergraduate education, and we just cannot abandon that initiative. We just need to stick it out and find a way to keep doing what we're doing. And I realize how hard that is and how easy that is to say when you're on the other end of your career.
Sure.
But I think you have to trust the process and trust your colleagues that they're going to be there to support you. So that's one piece of advice. The other thing I think younger people are a little better at is work-life balance and saying no. I think back to the question, what would I do differently? I might have stayed with more one topic. I tend to be a little bit all over the place.
Sure.
Which has actually been fun, but maybe I would have been a little bit more successful if I had stayed with just one line of research and one area of teaching. I don't know if that's for sure. Really,
it's a hard balance, and I think there's lots of parallels between Boise State and Ball State. When I got here, teaching was valued, and I could dive into becoming a better teacher, and that was valued in my annual evaluations and things like that. And and Mary, I'm very, I think, in parallel with you. I was a dilettante. I am a dilettante. I studied. I might study an area for a few years, get a couple of publications, and go on to something else. And I never became a world-class expert in anything. And I have a colleague who retired a couple of years ago, Charles Hantz, was a world-class expert in eyewitness testimony and polygraphs because he spent his 30 years doing one thing. So I hear you loud and clear. For me, I just know I'd have been bored to tears.
Yeah.
To do that. And so I appreciated that I could dabble in these different areas. And my university, I was fortunate, most of the time valued it.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted me doing stuff, including students. They didn't really care so much about what I was doing per se.
Yeah.
Academic.
Yeah. And I do think that's a gift. One of the nice parts about being at an institution of my size, there's resources to do what you want. There's not the huge pressure to get grant money or to publish in the very best journals. The other thing, a piece of advice, which is something I have hanging on my wall, and it's a New Yorker cartoon with these two cats looking at these two mice. And the tagline is, "Comparison is the thief of joy."
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And I think that is one thing, like, just be happy with what you're doing and what you are, and don't say, well, I'm not Eric. I didn't do what Eric Landrum did. I didn't, I don't have that successful psych major book, and I can't give these wonderful, amazing talks.
That's very kind. And I felt the same way in my career. I can remember 5 years into my career being in my office with my door slightly open and hearing my colleagues out in the hallway just really enjoying each other and talking about high-level things and coming up with collaborations. And I can remember sitting in my office going, how come they're not inviting me? And that comparison quote is perfect. And I will tell you, it probably took me 20 years into my career to be comfortable enough and have sufficient ego strength to go, they should keep doing those really cool things and I'll keep doing whatever I'm doing. And I think our students suffer from that today as well. In fact, I find it in students who are non-traditionally aged. So I'll be talking to a 29-year-old in my office and they'll say, I'm behind. I should have been in graduate school by now. Look at all these 20-year-olds. And I try to have that same conversation about comparison. You're not behind. If you want to go to grad school when you're 29, plenty of people are there who are doing that and older. So, so that is a great thing. Yeah. Great recommendation. What's it again? What's the exact quote?
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Absolutely.
Apparently it's from the Bible, which I didn't know. My son found it somewhere in the Bible somewhere, but mine's from a New Yorker cartoon. I thought that's how I want to live my life going forward is,
My favorite cartoon like that is a Sidney Harris cartoon where they're at the chalkboard and they're working a problem in step 1, and then by step 3, they've got it solved. And someone asks them, well, what did you do it in step 2? And they say, then a miracle occurs.
That's right.
Sometimes you got to fill in the blank with something,
Yeah.
So.
My statistics professor in graduate school used to say, and then you wave your hands and you get the output.
And then you wave your hands.
You don't have to necessarily understand what happens in all the calculus and the underlying stuff.
Right. Who needs calculus? I mean,
That's
really.
Right. Yeah.
Who needs calculus?
Yeah, exactly.
Mary, it's been a pleasure. I want to before I stop recording, I want to give you the last word. Any last things that you'd like to say or mention?
It's a wonderful life, being an academic, and it will continue to be a wonderful life. And I feel very blessed to have had the opportunities I had. The other thing, if I can, in my retirement, I have had so many people talk to me about the ways I influence them. And I think the other thing I would leave with is you don't actually usually get to know the impact you've had, but that ripple effect is absolutely there. And the ways that you change people's lives, you don't necessarily get to know, but undoubtedly is happening.
Yeah. Well said. Mary, Thank you so much for joining me today. I
Thank you
really
for
appreciate
asking
it.
me.